Hey there, Fellowship family. Welcome to your one-stop shop for all things church life. I'm Mark Francis, and your host for today. You are in for a treat. We love hearing from you, the congregation, and was able to acquire many people to sit into the podcast studio with me today by way of looking to share stories of what God is doing in their world. And so I'm going to jump right in because there's so many things we want to get to and so many people to hear from. So I'm excited about what we're going to introduce here as it relates to what we'll call CMA, Christian Motorcyclists Association. And man, what is the relevance of that? I'm going to hear about it. So I'm going to go over here and let you guys introduce yourselves. So Mitch, fire away.
Yeah, Mitch Berkenkemper. I'm the president of our chapter. Our chapter is known as the Shenandoah Valley Christian Riders. We are chapter number 1079 of the Christian Motorcyclists Association.
Okay, we're going to unpack that a little bit more. But yes, next, John.
I'm John Baumgartner. I am the treasurer of our group, which means I have the checkbook.
Okay, checkbook is good.
And I keep everybody honest.
That's important too. We'll go back behind you. So Patty, up here.
I am Patty Stambaugh. I am the secretary of our chapter, and I do my best to keep them straight.
Good. Do your best.
I fail miserably.
Yes, miserable failure.
Myron, you're associated with that lady back there?
This is my wife,
Yep.
Patty. My name's Myron Stambaugh. I'm the vice president currently of our chapter.
And we have, last but not least,
Mark Jones.
Mark.
I'm the road captain for the chapter, and I spend a lot of time on Google Maps looking at places to ride, where to ride, and doing pre-rides, checking out roads that I've never been on before.
Cool.
To
that's an
have fun.
important job, I would imagine. Yeah.
And
Knowing where to go.
I give him a lot of credit because he grew up here and he knows all the back roads.
Those are probably the fun roads to go, right?
For sure.
Well, Mitch, I'll start with you because you came to us a little while ago and just said, man, there's some cool things happening with what you guys do that makes sense to share with our congregation. You attend here at FBC amongst many others here, but share a little bit about how long you've been a part of FBC, for example, and why you reached out to say, okay, we have stories to share.
Sure. So we started attending FBC in 2002. So we've been here quite a while.
And you say we. Who's we?
Me and my wife, and well, my two boys are grown now,
Yep.
but when they were growing up, they attended here as well. So about a year and a half ago, the church was doing a program called Building Bridges.
Yep, there was a focus that was going on.
Yeah. And that really kind of caught my attention. And so one of the things I've been doing over the last couple of years is reaching out to the secular motorcycle clubs in this area. And just basically just going in, sitting down. They may have a beer, I'll have a soda. But I sit down and talk with them, And so I'm got to the point now where I recognize them, they know me. And again, it's just a matter of just going into kind of a dark place and shining the light of Christ.
So how does that work with the association that you're in? Because CMA, Christian Motorcyclists Association, stands for something, obviously. So walk us through, maybe this doesn't have to be you, Mitch, but walk us through the background of this association and how you guys became a part of it.
Sure.
Myron?
So, go ahead.
Who wants to do that?
Yeah, I can do that. Well, the CMA started in 1975 with a gentleman named Herb Shreve in Arkansas, and he wanted to connect with his son, and they liked motorcycles, so they bought a couple of motorcycles, and they went to a rally just thinking that's where we should go. It's a motorcycle rally. And he was a very Christian man, and he was rather shocked with what he saw, the behaviors and such at a motorcycle rally. I guess he was uninformed at that time of what went on at these places. So God called him basically as a missionary to start the Christian Motorcyclists Association, which was just a group of folks at that time in Arkansas to go to rallies, and it just started to grow. And it became more formalized. The chapters began to bloom, and that was, 45, somebody do the math, 50.
Coming up on 50, right?
So,
yeah.
And it's grown to a very large organization. over 1,000 chapters in the United States, and I don't know how many countries around the world.
37 countries.
37 countries.
We have
around the world.
125,000 members around the world.
Wow.
Now, to put that in comparison, some of the other motorcycle clubs that you hear about have anywhere from maybe 200 to 2,000 members. They're a lot harder to get into than we are. Well, in our case, all we have, the person has to watch a video and fill out a small workbook, answer some questions and that kind of thing, mail it into headquarters, and they send you a card.
And a firm faith in Christ.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, that's the most important part.
Yeah, you
have to
can
have
bring
faith.
give your
line item
testimony
down the
too.
bottom.
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Patty.
I was just going to say, and then participate. Once you get your form and everything filled out, once you plugged in,
Yeah.
finding a place to serve.
Yeah, find something to do.
So how long ago did the chapter here get started? What did that look like as far as you guys
we actually
affiliated?
became a chapter in 2009.
Okay.
So we've been around for about 15 years now.
And how long have all of you guys been a part of it? I mean, I got to ask. I want everyone to share their stories too. So I'll go to you, John. What first got you started into
I'm
it?
the new guy.
There you go. That's easy answer
The new
then.
guy, maybe 3, maybe 4 years.
Okay.
Yeah, I joined because I saw the little postcard on the bulletin board in the church lobby, and I was looking for an excuse a way to get out on the bike more often, but without having to go to one of these hyper masculine groups. And these guys are great. So
What are you saying, John?
I'm saying you guys.
I'm not sure how
you
to
guys are
take
a lot
that.
easier going.
Mark, how about you?
We didn't have any hazing.
A lot less fighting.
I've only been riding since 2016, and my wife was concerned about me doing a lot of solo riding. She said, you really should find a group to ride with. And I thought, what better group to ride with than the local CMA chapter? I had seen them in a Golden Corral from time to time when they had their meetings. And then by chance, a friend of mine and I were on a ride to Seneca Rocks. And while we were there, sure enough, the Winchester chapter showed up. And I said, where are you guys from? They said, Winchester. I said, I'm from Winchester. I said, so I actually got in touch with Myron, and I started talking that day. And, before long, I was, participating in meetings, and I ended up joining.
And now laying out the plan for the trips, right?
Right.
That's a very important plan there. Well,
Yeah. So Myron and I are kind of the dinosaurs of the group, if you will.
Yeah.
We both started around 2010, about a year after the chapter started.
okay. So we're almost from the beginning, at least. And how many people are in your chapter right now?
I would say, as far as members, we probably have 25, give or take some.
Okay. How often do you guys get out and ride around?
We have 2 rides a month. We ride every second Saturday and every third Thursday. And that's just normal rides that we do. And we invite, the public and other people to come with us. But then we also do rides with other chapters or other clubs
Okay.
and so on in the area, because a lot of times they may have, for example, what's called a poker run. We do not initiate poker runs, but if another club is having a poker run, then we can participate in it.
I don't even know what that means. What is
Well-
a poker run?
Yeah,
It's an excuse to get out on the road.
Okay.
You start from wherever you meet, go to a place, draw a card from a group,
A bar.
Uh-huh.
Go to a bar.
Yeah.
And draw a card.
and then you go to another
it is.
place,
One card, 2 beers.
Okay.
Then not us, but them.
another place, and draw a different card, and
two
you
more
go to
beers.
5 different places, you get back, and whoever has the best hand, who happened to draw the best hand, gets a prize.
Got it.
But it's just
okay, I'm
just a
following
reason
now.
to be on the road.
Just
Yep.
another reason to be on the road, right?
It's,
But a lot of times they'll have cookouts, and different events too. So we'll attend those as well.
Yeah.
Sometimes we get called by other organizations, like the places that want us to organize a ride.
Shenandoah County
Right.
Pregnancy
There's
Center.
Pregnancy Center.
Pregnancy Center, yeah, and it's for their benefit to raise cash for them.
good.
Yeah.
Got it.
And we
And
did a ride.
we're happy to do that.
Yeah.
We've actually done 4 of those types of rides this year. Shenandoah Valley Family Bike Fest, they needed a road captain. Shenandoah County Pregnancy Center, we've been working with them for a number of years. We lead the ride for them. The suicide prevention ride out of Front Royal didn't have a road captain today, this year, filled in for that. And then on October 5th, there was a Helping Hands Cancer Outreach ride that they needed a road captain and participated in that. That's actually for my church, Burn Factory. We also do some ice cream runs during the summer on Sunday afternoons.
What's an ice cream run? Sounds fun.
Kind of like a
Just
poker run
basically-
without the beer.
Yeah.
Ice cream instead.
Ice cream in each location,
No
right?
ride, eat ice cream, come home.
Yeah. Essentially.
But it could be pretty far away, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we've gone as far as Harrisonburg and what are some of the other places we went to? Nutters over in Sharpsburg, Nutters
Yep.
Ice Cream Shop.
Yeah, that sounds. I mean, so you guys obviously have fun, you
We
know.
do.
But
We do.
the purpose goes deeper than just having fun. So I'm going to go back to Mitch, what you said of this building bridges concept, because you're right. FBC a little while ago had this focus for the family ministry and everybody at FBC to look. What does it mean to reach out to the community or your neighbor or people around you, and to look beyond just, well, the church's job is to evangelize and outreach. Well, no, we're called to be the hands and feet of Christ and be a light to the community. And it doesn't have to be so scary. It can just be building a little bridge to
Yeah.
go to where they are, because they won't come to us.
Exactly.
So-
exactly.
So touch back on where you started, because you said that you will go to them. And so you're essentially using this chapter as an opportunity to meet and interact with those that are not in your chapter who are on other motorcycle clubs.
Yeah. So one of the great things about being in a motorcycle association like this is that when we meet strangers, people from other clubs, we automatically have a platform. We have something in common with them. In the biker world, it's often known as a two-wheeled brotherhood. You know, you get a certain amount of respect just the fact that you ride on two wheels. Now, some people ride trikes or three wheels, two in the back and one in the front. Some people ride what they call a spider, two in the front and one in the back, and that's
I've seen
okay
those.
too. We ride
Do
with
you-
all those.
Do you make fun of those people? Like,
No, we don't actually.
Behind closed doors.
Oh boy.
Yeah, but yeah, you're exactly right. It's a matter of bringing the church to them, because a lot of those folks many of them have never been to church in their life, have no desire to come to church, and so this is a way that we can take the light of Christ, take the church to them, and it's kind of a mutual kind of a learning experience for both of us, because a lot of these clubs, when you look at their Facebook pages and things like that, they have all kinds of awful looking images on there. They got skulls and demons and all kinds of dragons and all this kind of stuff. But once you get past all that stuff, they're people just like us.
Sure.
They have jobs, they got families. Really, the only difference between them and us are the choices that we make. You know? And likewise, it's a learning experience for them, because they're finding out that we're not a bunch of just stuck-up church people who's too good to associate with them.
and you have something that they don't have, which is Christ. And
Right.
so that's the best gift that you want to give, and that's why we build bridges. So you've had that mindset for a while now. Give me some examples. What has that been looking like in y'all's world?
Well, I went to a motorcycle rally, actually an expo, last year in Woodstock. And there was a guy who had a booth set up across from ours, and we talked with him. Got to talking about church, and he said, I'm going to tell you a story. He said, when I was a kid, he said, I was very active in the church. And he said, my parents were divorced. He said, it was just me and my siblings living with my mom. And he said, we had a very harsh winter one year, and our furnace broke down. And he said, my mom went to the church and asked if they could give us some money to help get our furnace fixed. The pastor told her, we're not giving you any money because you didn't contribute enough to the tithing fund.
Wow.
And he said, when that happened, he said, something snapped in me. And he said, I walked out of the church, and he said, I've never been back since. So it gave me an opportunity to explain to him. I said, the church did you wrong. That particular church did you wrong. It wasn't God who did you wrong. And I said, don't conflate God and the church, because they're not the same thing. God is perfect. The church is not. You know, and but he allowed us to pray with him. We gave him a Bible. Now I also carry business cards, little CMA business cards in my wallet. It's got my phone number and my email address on it. And a lot of times I'll pass those out at gas stations. I'll meet people at a gas pump, you know, and they're gassing up their bike on the other side. I'll give them a card. On the back of the card, it has a salvation message. So even if I never see that person again, I have essentially given him the salvation message that he can look at later on. You know,
God can use us any way possible.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's just being willing and open to see, okay, how am I meant to be used in this situation today?
right now Myron, on the other hand, deals with the off-road crew. So he does off-road racing and things like that. I'll turn it over to him. But he deals with a whole group of people that I would never meet because I don't have an off-road bike.
Yeah, I've been a motorcyclist all my life. Rode some dirt bikes as a kid and always had sort of this dream, I guess, of it, but it didn't happen. It turned more to street bikes and such, and maybe 5 years ago, 2017, really, the spark was reignited and kind of fanned into flame, and by 2019, I was racing full schedules and a couple different race series. But, there was the love for that, which is one reason we're all here is we love motorcycles and we love Jesus. So the two come together, and Jesus says, go and make disciples. So we go with our motorcycles and make disciples. So when I hit the off-road and started to race, met tons of people and enjoyed racing with guys. He'll crash in front of me, I'll pass him, I'll crash in front of him, he'll pass me, and we'll get back, we're fist bumping. Oh, that was so awesome, And that guy and me, we're still friends. He lives out in Ohio. I go out and see him every year. And like Mitch says, we get to pray with guys. We do a thing we call a bike blessing. It's really a biker blessing, but we couch it as a bike blessing. And we get to pray with folks, and I was able to pray with him and a lot of others. And there's just a lot of stories as relationships build, good stories of injury, healing, sickness. Have we had any death?
Well, we weren't out there, but we do have friends in the Colorado chapter that faced a really severe accident that killed 2 of their chapter members. And I actually reached out to one of the members there because she was just having a really hard time working through just the grief and trauma of seeing someone that you love and care about go through that. So, but yeah, I go with him to his races, and I have kind of a unique opportunity because the majority of the dirt bike racers are men. And so it leaves a lot of wives out meandering, taking pictures, talking. And so I've gotten a lot of really good friendships, but I've also gotten an opportunity to pray with some women when their husbands have been hurt or not really sure what's going on. It's been really a blessing for me, actually.
Yeah. So we also cover motorcycle racing. So not far, just across the West Virginia border up in Summit Point, there's a motorcycle racetrack. And so a bunch of our members are flaggers, that they will, when there's a wreck up ahead or something going on, they'll wave certain types of flags to warn their riders that are coming through. I'll tell you, it's an amazing experience to stand beside a racetrack and watch somebody zip by you at 160 miles an hour.
Oh, I bet.
On a racing bike.
That seems so scary to me.
Yeah. And they will, when they take those corners, they will lay down and they will drag their knees and their elbows, and they'll race even in the rain like that.
Yeah.
So incredibly skilled riders.
Well, going back to the building bridges concept of what you said, what's striking me is that you're just using the commonality that you have with loving motorcycles and the draw that's brought to your life, and the hobby and the passion and excitement, enthusiasm oozes out of you guys. And so I can see how there's a bond, and you can equate this to any other hobby or any other subculture that exists in town or in your area. And how can the listeners and viewers apply that to their lives? So what other, I don't want to shortchange the stories, so only a few of you guys have been able to talk. Are there any other moments where you've seen God work through you or others in your chapter to
it helped me, being a part of the group helped me one time with a coworker who was, in chatting I find out he rides also. And then we talk about where we go. And I said, well, I go out and ride with my group. And what's the group? Christian Motorcycle Association. And then he starts wanting to talk about his experience with religion and his faith. And we ended up talking about his mom and her religious struggles, and we got his bike blessed, and it's just something we had in common. And from then on, we pass each other in the hallway. We got something to talk about. That's God related.
Yep. I was at a race just a month ago or so, and I needed a little prep work on my bike, and I needed forehands, but I only had 2. So I asked the guy next to me, and we had already been in conversation, so it seemed natural. Hey, could you give me a hand real quick? And he did. And then we do have a little what we call Biker Bible. It's a little New Testament, has some other stories in there folks can relate to. And I said, I think this is a great opportunity to put a Bible in this guy's hands. And I said, hey, I want to thank you for helping me out. I got a Bible for you. And that precipitated a conversation about religion and how he was done with religion because of all the ill things that had been done around the world in the name of religion, which is an excuse that a lot of people like to make. I think that's what it is, really, as an excuse. And it's easily quelled the way you did. God doesn't do that. God is not religion. Religion is what man does with this book here. That's how they take this perfect book and mess it up. That's religion. So, and I just encourage them, just read it. This is God's love for you, and just read it.
Yeah, I also want to mention, too, that if anyone wants to tag along with us, but they don't ride a motorcycle, they're welcome to.
How would they tag along?
Well, for example, my wife, she used to ride with me and decided, she suffered a neck injury because the wind really got the best of her on one of our trips. But anyway, she follows us in the car. So she will go and follow along right behind us in the car. And we've had other gatherings like that where we've had people follow us in cars, trucks, whatever, and it's fine.
It's kind of like a spotter. Like, somebody who's swimming in a river or something like that. Yeah. You get like somebody with a kayak or a boat next to them. You're just making sure that you're staying safe, right? Or a bike. Cyclist.
But we are a very family-friendly group.
Yep.
We're not the kind that will pass cars on blind curves and go racing in between cars on the highway, and we don't do any of that stuff.
No knee dragging.
Yeah, none of that stuff.
So give me just backing up to the contrast of what the CMA represents versus the other cyclist organizations out there.
Sure.
Present the need, paint the picture of like some of the differences and what you see of the light of Christ versus what is out there in other biker groups.
Right. So with a biker groups, let me explain something too. There's a saying called 1%ers. Okay, and where that comes from is back in the 1960s. I believe it was the president of the American Motorcyclists Association. He said that 99% of motorcyclists are law-abiding citizens. But you have that 1% who is into drugs and prostitution and all kinds of criminal activity and so on and so on. Well, some of the biker community took that as a badge of honor. So it's not uncommon. You can go to these biker rallies and you will see people, they call it a diamond patch. And it's in the shape of a diamond they wear on their, and it'll say 1%er on it. And it's kind of like broadcasting the fact that, yeah, I'm evil. Okay. But not all of them are like that. Okay, but I'm just saying they're out there. So when people tend to think of scary motorcycle groups, so on, the 1%ers are more in that range. But there's a lot of groups out there that are not 1%ers, and even in the groups that are 1%ers, not all of them are involved in criminal activity. A lot of them just like to ride, and they just decided to hang out with a group like that. Now, another thing that we do, we have a program called Run for the Sun. And this is a global ministry. There's actually 3 global ministries that we support. Every year we do a fundraiser, first Saturday in May, which here corresponds with Apple Blossom Festival. But we work around that. And with Run for the Sun, CMA has raised almost $100 million over the last almost 50 years. And there's 3 ministries that we associate with. One is called the Jesus Film. This is where they take the film, the gospel, to remote areas, and people hear the gospel in their own language. Okay, so the Jesus Film is one. Second one is called Global Christian Relief. It used to be an organization called Open Doors, but this is a group that smuggles Bibles into parts of the world where Christianity is outlawed. Okay, like the Middle East and other places. And then the third one is called Missionary Ventures. And this is a group that supplies transportation to pastors in remote areas. They might be in Africa, India, South America, somewhere. And some of those places, you may have 20, 25 villages, and they have one pastor that circulates among all those. Okay?
Yeah, our FBC missions team experiences that, and it is challenging.
Yeah.
Fully appreciate that.
So, but oftentimes they have to walk to all these places. So what Missionary Ventures does, they provide them, often it's a motorcycle, but not always a motorcycle. But oftentimes it's a motorcycle, And that way they can ride to those 25 villages and so on and get there in much more comfort and get there a lot faster. But there's also cases where they have provided boats, bicycles. I think in one case they even provided a camel, a horse.
Wow.
Yeah. Various forms of transportation. It's called Missionary Ventures.
Wow.
So the way CMA does it, all the money they collect each year during this fundraiser, Run for the Sun, 60% of that goes for what they call home missions. That's for biker evangelism here in the United States. The other, 40% goes here to the United States. The other 60%, they divide it 20, 20, and 20 between these three ministries that I just mentioned.
Awesome. That's an amazing outreach opportunity that you guys are doing as well. Just utilizing the resources that we have, that you guys have, and just sharing it around.
When we contribute to Run for the Sun, we're touching people on the other side of the world that will never meet this side of heaven.
Yep, that's amazing. Well, let me get back to something that you mentioned before, a diamond patch. It was like for one percenters. I see all of you guys wearing somewhat patches. Share, like, what's the meaning behind some of those patches, and which one do you appreciate the most that you're wearing? Let's start with you, Mark.
This is Mid-Atlantic Road and Racing Club, and that's where we do the flagging at some point to help out more volunteers over there. And it's an opportunity to speak with the racers, and they give us a lot of respect for helping out with the races. And because at some point there's 10 turns, and I think we man at least 7 or 8 of the turns because you can't see the whole track from any one location.
Nice.
So,
Myron, how about yours?
Oh, let's see. Well, this is our chapter patch. Shenandoah Valley Christian Riders. It's got the state of Virginia in there and the Cross of Christ. So that just represents our particular chapter. The CMA logo is here. We wear that on our backs. Little side note to the 1% clubs. They take their patch. It's their trademark. It's more than that. It's very near and dear to their hearts. Their patches, their identity almost, and the vest that they wear, of which they only may have one that has that patch on. You get that patch through a very long and hard probationary period before you can have your patch and be a member. Our patch is similar in appearance, so that there's an association. They recognize it. It looks like a biker patch. And I guess CMA came through a period of time where they might have been a club, like a Christian club. And there are Christian motorcycle clubs, but CMA distinguishes themselves from that. They don't want to be a club. They're a Christian Motorcyclists Association, which matters, actually, in the biker community. Biker clubs have territories, and they get permission from the top dogs, if you will, to either ride through that territory or be a club within that territory. And CMA, as an association, doesn't have to comply with any of that. And we can come and go anywhere, and we're respected everywhere. CMA has negotiated peace deals between rival clubs. If there was a shootout somewhere, I don't know whether it's in Texas or somewhere, from time to time there are, bad violence between these clubs, and CMA is usually gets right in there afterwards or before. We're probably already in there, and they get the call. A lot of times if a club, a guy like Mitch who rides with the club, if someone goes down in one of these clubs, he'll get a call. We went in, we visit folks in the hospital. We visited a gentleman who was in a pretty bad motorcycle crash, and we didn't know him, and not even sure if he was part of a club. We just got a word for it.
Yeah.
We went in and prayed for him by the bedside. I digress from the patch.
Yeah, it's all part of the stories.
There's a story for the colors. Let's see, black for our sin, red for Christ's blood. Of course, the Bible is the center of our focus with the cross of Christ on it. Praying hands. I think the blue stands for heaven, and yeah.
But it's neat how there's an association with the look of the patch, so it gives even more of that credibility and an explanation of what it represents.
Sometimes people,
an icebreaker.
I'm walking across a race or something, and people will look at me and go, "Hey," and I'm just like, I don't know them, and I go like, "Oh, I'm wearing my patch," and they just know. Yeah. And I have got the opportunity to one of the race series wanted a prayer when they did their riders meeting. They do a prayer in the national anthem, and I got to do that for the whole season. And I could just walk around anywhere, talk to any of the pros, and they knew me as the guy who did the prayer. And it was a very
I've
nice
had the
opportunity.
same experience. I've gone to biker groups in this area, and they'll say, "Oh, you're CMA. Would you lead the prayer for us?" You know, yeah,
And
be glad
people
to.
know the patch like everywhere. Myron and I were coming back from a race, and we were just stopping at a Cracker Barrel, and I don't know, it was like Ohio somewhere, and some guy saw that we were wearing the patch, and he'd had a really great experience where he had broken down. A CMA member saw that he was broken down. They were wearing their patch, stopped, helped him, and he just has carried that with him for years. And just seeing that patch, reminded him, and he just had like an instant connection with us.
It comes with a badge and a logo of pride, but also responsibility, and there's a level of recognition of, you are representing Christ, and you're putting that badge on. What if every Christian was wearing a patch out there? That's
It's really good behavior.
It's going to make you think a little bit harder, right?
What if I just wore mine all the time?
Right, there you go.
I think it was Saint Francis of Assisi who made the statement that he said, "Every day preach the gospel, and if necessary, use words." And I think that we really practice that a lot when we're going out into the unbelieving world, because I like to compare it to if you have someone who has been continually in darkness, basically their eyes are adjusted to that. Now imagine if you threw open the door, let's say they're in a room, you threw open a door, you shine a spotlight in their eyes, they're going to have a painful reaction to that. Okay. The same way, when you go into groups of people who are not familiar with the gospel and so on, if you go in there spouting scripture and waving a Bible, they're not going to be receptive to it. In fact, you may find yourself laying out on the sidewalk. Probably not, but they may ask you to leave.
You never know.
They'll move away from you if nothing else.
Yeah, at a
separate
minimum, they'll
themselves
just
from
move
you.
away from you.
Yeah.
So we don't mix with them in the sense of we don't use profanity. We don't drink beer with them. We definitely don't smoke pot with them. And there's certain things they do that we will not do. Okay. But at the same time, we associate with them. And to me, this is the same thing Jesus did, associating with the tax collectors and the sinners. And that's why the Pharisees got all bent out of shape. So why does your master associate with tax collectors and sinners?
It's an amazing...
Showing them he loved them.
It is a great practical example of what it looks like to build a bridge. Hence that idea of, yes, we're going to do what we can to show Christ, but make it easy and likely for them to listen and for them to see it on display. And it's relationship building,
It is. And I think that's the biggest part I've seen, especially with Mitch and Myron, is that they just continually show up. And I think the more that we are consistently showing up at these races, at these clubs, on these rides, then the more that they see that we're really just normal people. We just have something really, really awesome that we want to share.
Yeah. Well, on the show notes, there'll be the link for the FBC web page that has the Building Bridges landing page that'll show you all the different tools and resources. And what you guys are sharing is just almost word for word of just the practical examples that we gave 1.5 years, 2 years ago for building bridges of just how to do it. And you guys are living it out. And I'd encourage all you guys watching and listening to think about where is your world. You might not be a biker. you might not own a motorcycle to join them, but if you do, I'm sure you guys are probably looking for more people.
You bet.
Yes.
But there's
Always.
We're glad to give advice regarding bikes too.
advice and bikes, sure. And what not to do, right?
Which one to buy, which one not to buy.
Yeah. But what areas, what circles of are you swimming in that you can think, okay, they need Jesus, just like, it could be your neighborhood, it can be your coworkers, it can be at your gym, it can be at the local coffee store that you go to all the time. What are the people that you have a common bond with instantly, right then and there? And so I think that's the challenge for all of us.
So yes, even if someone doesn't ride a motorcycle, but if they are willing to get out and talk with people, okay, they're welcome to join our chapter. In fact, if someone wants to hang around in our chapter and come to some of our meetings, we meet the second Wednesday of every month at Golden Corral. at 7 o'clock. But if someone wants to just come to the meetings and go to certain events with us and just talk with people, that's fine. You don't have to own a motorcycle.
Yeah.
You might actually be able to hitch a ride too.
I
I tell my friends, first ride's free.
And then what?
Then we negotiate.
Yep, that's fine. Well, thank you everybody for being here. Mitch, John, Patty, Myron, Mark, I really appreciate you guys taking the time to just share your stories. And it's just a refreshing opportunity to hear and see people living out their life, getting outside of a church wall and going beyond just a Sunday sermon or just a beyond church on a Sunday. You're being church to the world around you. So I really appreciate that. Let me just share with the rest of you guys as you're watching and listening to remember that you can just share your stories. We'd love to hear from you as Mitch approached us as well. And it doesn't have to be anything fancy, but we want to hear of what God is doing in your world as well. And coming off of just, Halloween week where there's all kinds of darkness around us and we are able to produce light up the night, you guys are providing that light as well. So I appreciate it. The fact of the matter, guys, is that, we want to take these opportunities to proclaim Christ. So once again, thank you guys. And until we meet and chat again, let's let Christ be the center of our lives each and every day.